Okay, we are ready now. It's finally working. Let me get the tripod all ready. Okay, let's do this now.
Running footsteps starting from the front door, coming down the hallway straight towards me. What's up, Creepy Crew, and welcome back to Story Static. Today I've got 4 super creepy stories that were sent in by you guys. I'm not gonna lie, these stories had me wondering if I would have made it through the situation. Okay, we've got one about something following a man through the Appalachian Mountains, a creepy ass hotel room, a little girl who supposedly stepped out of a painting, and an apartment that apparently got so terrifying the people that lived there had to leave. So
The painting would be burned.
Get comfortable. Let's get into it. Everyone in the Appalachian Mountains grows up here in the same mornings. Don't whistle at the dark. If you hear your name in the woods, don't answer unless you can see who's calling you. And if the forest suddenly goes completely silent, leave. I never believed any of it. I've never been to the Appalachian Mountains, and I believe every single rule that you listed. The way them stories be coming out left and right, I believe all of them. You can tell me not to fart too loud out there, I don't believe you. I'm sorry, I would. Last October, my truck broke down on an old gravel road deep in the mountains. My phone had no signal, and the nearest town was over 15 miles away. The sun had already disappeared behind the ridges, leaving the woods darker than they should have been. Okay, so immediately, I'm just gonna close my eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Lock the truck doors, lean the seat back, try to get a little rest, because I'm not getting out. The sun's already going down. Nearest town was 15 miles away. I'm not getting out of the vehicle. At first, everything seemed normal. Crickets, owls, leaves blowing through the trees. Then it all stopped. Every sound disappeared at once. The silence felt so heavy it made my ears ring. That's when I heard it. A whistle. 3 short notes. Not the ghost out there whistling hot cross buns. It came from somewhere deep in the trees. I ignored it. A minute later, the whistle came again. Closer.
Oh,
Then I
heck
heard
no.
my name.
What?
Not yelled, whispered. Perfectly. It sounded exactly like my brother. The problem was, my brother had died 2 years earlier. Every instinct told me to answer, but I remembered what an old man at the gas station had said earlier that day. I don't know why every instinct was telling you to answer anyways. You just said he died 2 years ago. Why would he be out here in the woods? And if he was out here in the woods, is he a ghost? A zombie? Either way, I'm not answering. If something calls your name out here after dark, keep walking. So I stayed quiet. The footsteps
No, you start
behind me.
running.
Slow.
You
Crunch,
start running.
crunch, crunch. They matched my pace perfectly. Every time I stopped, they stopped. I
Why are
finally
you stopping?
worked up the courage to turn around. Nothing. Just trees. I'm not turning around. Matter of fact, you would have heard crunch, 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 because I would have been booking it back to my truck. That's what I know. I started walking faster. The footsteps did too. Then something laughed. Not loudly, just enough to let me know it wasn't trying to hide anymore.
Oh.
I reached my truck and locked myself inside.
Oh my gosh. Nope.
You shouldn't have got out. The whistle came one last time, right outside of my driver's side window. 3 short notes. Hot cross buns. I don't know, that's all I could think. That's only 3 notes I could imagine. It had to be hot cross buns. It had to be. I refused to look. When the sun finally came up, I stepped outside. There were muddy footprints surrounding my truck, hundreds of them, all barefoot. Every print faced the truck. None of them led away. I sold that truck a week later. Now, I get it. I'm not going to sell my, I don't think I'm going to sell my car now. Whatever it was out here in these woods. But I guess because none of them led away, you don't want to die. This economy. I don't know. I still avoid those mountains after sunset, but every now and then, usually around 3 a.m., I wake up to the sound of 3 soft whistles outside of my bedroom window. I never looked because sometimes the mountains don't let you leave. You know, as many stories as there are about the Appalachian Mountains, I wonder why people still, live there. Me? No.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Why do you live there?
Absolutely not. On to the next. Y'all strap in, because this one is a doozy. So I live in the Bahamas and work at a print shop.
Oh.
Every so often, a team is
Oreo.
assigned to go to a graphic expo to see what's new in the printing world to keep current and relevant. There are options all over the United States, Germany, etc. We decided on an expo in Florida, being held in Miami Beach. Don't send me to no expo in Miami. Not getting no work done. We would normally have our own rooms, but we're told since the budget was tight this particular year, we would need to get suites to share. I ended up in a suite with an older coworker. I am a female and was in my early 30s, and she was in her mid-50s at the time.
Okay.
We didn't work in the same department, nor were we
I was
really
gonna
close,
say, if it was a,
but we
it don't
liked
even,
each other,
if it was
and
a
over the
man,
course of working
no,
together,
but still.
we had pretty decent conversations. In short,
Women are
neither
gay.
of us had an issue with each other. However, not all coworkers felt the same way about her. Even though she stayed pretty much to herself, she engaged with only a select few. Some people described her as strange. One person described her behavior as one who was always suspicious of others, thinking someone was always out to get her, as in dabbling in dark practices. Look, boss, you gotta give me another room. I'm sorry. Like I'm to say, you talking about she dabbling in dark practices. I'm glad I'm on her good side. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad she only talks to a select few, and I'm one of them. I'm grateful. But also, I'd hate to leave one on the bathroom floor and then I wake up tomorrow with toads in my bed. I don't know. Once inside of our suite, my coworker, let's call her Mrs. Rivers, lightly scanned the area. There was a master bedroom with a king bed, ceiling to floor windows, with a couch, a coffee table, and the room door had a key. There was a smaller bedroom with no door, but rather a partition closing it off from the shared living room / kitchenette space, and there was one bathroom to share. The small kitchenette area had recessed lights that ran from the kitchen ceiling into the smaller bedroom. Once you cut them on, it would automatically be turned on in the small bedroom as well. This is an important detail to remember later. I graciously spoke up and told Mrs. Rivers she should take the larger room, seeing that she was a senior employee in the company, and she thanked me for being thoughtful. Truthfully, I didn't mind, as my room was smaller but cozy as well. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. You know what I'm saying? If I went on a trip with an older coworker, for sure, you can. The only fault I had was when I closed the partition, I noticed the lock on it was faulty and wouldn't lock. But since the partition closed all the way, I didn't make a big deal.
Yes, I need a new lock.
I wasn't worried at all because
or I need a new
Rivers
room.
was very polite,
with
the
nobody.
kind who you knew would always knock and then wait to be invited in.
That's what I would have did.
I don't give a damn how nice she is.
She could be a murderer.
I'm calling the front desk. Hey, I'm in room 721. Right. The little partition, the lock broke. Y'all got somebody come in here and fix that? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll be here. It's fine. That's my time. Takes time.
But I'm not going to sleep.
Oh,
So
I'll see it when I get here.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Immediately, because I don't give a damn. She could be the nicest woman on earth.
Literally.
I don't know that lady. They already said she be practicing dark magic and shit. I need this door locked. The culture of these trips was to network, learn, and take care of company business from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And any time after that, we were free to go do whatever we wish. Shop, get pampered, explore, sightsee, bar hop, clubs, nightlife, whatever. This sounds like a good work trip. 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then I'm in Miami and I get to do what I want afterwards.
9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is like nothing.
Tell me up. The 5-day trip was pleasant enough.
It's like
but
a
on
bug.
The 4th day, our boss, the tyrant, who liked to control everyone and have things her way, decided she wanted to fly back early. She was trying to force her opinion on everyone to be at the airport at 4 a.m. to be on standby for the 6:30 a.m. flight, rather than fly back later that day at 8 p.m., the original time. You can fly back by yourself. Exactly. I'm not getting up to be in no airport at 4 a.m. to catch no standby, to maybe catch a standby flight. Excuse me? Go. You want to go? Go. I'm finna enjoy my last day here in Miami, kick my feet up. You know what I'm saying? I'll be on a plane at 8. See you back home. The crew was disgruntled as many had plans to do a bit of last-minute shopping that morning. To the tyrant's displeasure, the group decided that whoever wanted to go back early would be in the lobby at 3 a.m. to catch the shuttle, and the others would stick to the original plan.
Yep.
Exactly. Y'all want to leave? Leave. When we got to our suite, Mrs. Rivers didn't hold back in letting me know how annoyed she was with our boss trying to guilt her staff into flying back early simply because she was ready to head back. She said the tyrant had told her that because she was one of the older staff members present, she should set an example and side with her boss. And I would have told her, you can kiss my old ass. How about that? Make an example. I'm gonna show you an example, all right? Mrs. Rivers didn't like the feeling of being gently threatened, but also didn't like confrontation and was torn. I told Mrs. Rivers I wouldn't be rushing to go back early, but rather sticking to my plan to go to the spa in the morning. Plus, I had quite a bit of packing to do as I had did some shopping. We both chatted in the living space for about 15 minutes, and Mrs. Rivers said she would also start packing, and if she finished at a reasonable time, she would consider flying back earlier, but she doubted it as she had quite a bit of packing to do herself. She had purchased some glassware and some figurines and wanted to make sure that they were packaged properly so nothing was damaged. We said our goodnights and retired to our rooms. This was after 11 p.m., and I wasn't done with my packing until minutes up to 2 a.m. Probably would have been faster if I wasn't distracted watching TV. I went to sleep and was woken by lights in my face. Remember, I said the lights in the kitchenette area ran along the ceiling to my room. I groaned and looked at the clock, which said 5:45 a.m., and then at the curtains. It was still dark outside. I tucked my head under my blanket, whispering, "Come on, Mrs. Rivers," a bit annoyed that she knew good and well these lights would come on in my room, yet she still turned them on.
Well, what time's your flight?
Because I'm trying to get my rest. And see, my problem is, I would have got up out that bed. Why is these lights on at 5:45 in the morning? I would be asking questions. That's just me. That's just me. I started to go back to sleep, and then I heard the partition of my room open. Needless to say, my eyes popped open and my heart rate sped up. I stayed perfectly still, pretending to be asleep, wondering why Mrs. Rivers would open the partition without knocking. I'm not pretending a goddamn thing. I'm rolling over. Quick, fast, in a hurry. What are you doing?
I'm getting my cup, like...
I'm pretending shit. A few seconds passed and she closed the partition and the lights were shut off afterward. I was relieved, but was still wondering why she would do that. It was so unlike her. I managed to fall back asleep. I'm not falling back asleep. The lights done cut on and my room door done open. If anything, I would be thinking something was going on and she was trying to get my attention or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm finna go find out what's happening. About a half an hour later, the lights were switched on again. This time, I was just fully annoyed. My head was still under the covers when I heard the partition once again opening. Once again, I kept still, heart racing, and immediately the words of one of my coworkers who had the negative opinion of Mrs. Rivers came to mind. Why she kept opening the partition and not speaking and just watching me sleep had me rattled. I just don't know why we're assuming that. I don't know why we're not rolling over. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like we should at least peek, you know, something. And if you really think it's her, ma'am, why do you keep opening my door? You know what I'm saying? Like, ask. A few seconds later, but what felt like minutes, the partition closed. I took a breath. Then
that opens again, I'm out.
I could see dawn was breaking outside and set up anxious and irritated. I finally decided to address Mrs. Rivers. I called out, asked her if she needed something. She didn't respond. So I got out of bed, opened the partition to knock on her door. Her room door was open, and I peeked in, not wanting to walk all the way in and invade her privacy the way she was invading mine. She wasn't in her room, but the bathroom door was closed, so I walked to the bathroom, knocked on the door. Once again, calling her name, asking her if she needed anything. No answer. I figured she must have gone downstairs to breakfast, even though I didn't hear the door to the suite open or close. And they hard assumptions here. You know what I'm saying? Just assume. Even though the explanation made sense, something made me go back to her room door, and that's when it clicked. Her bed was perfectly made, and her luggage was gone. I opened the mini fridge, and her personal items were gone. I knocked on the bathroom door, tried the handle, and she wasn't in there. Just then, I noticed a white piece of paper on the little kitchen counter. I picked it up and read it, and it said, "Dear insert name. I decided to join the others on the early flight. Thank you for being a good roommate. See you back in Nassau."
Oh my God.
That's why you should have rolled over. Every bell and whistle went off in my head, realizing that Mrs. Rivers was long gone and that when the lights flicked on twice and the partition opened twice, I was alone. The early crew said they were meeting in the lobby from 3 a.m., almost 3 hours before the first lights came on. I immediately called my mom, a Christian, and asked her to pray with me. Listen, I'm not mad you called your mama to pray, but the first people I'm calling is the FBI. Somebody needs to come figure out what was going on in this room. And right after I got on the phone with the FBI, I'm calling the front desk. Hey, send a bellhop up here to help me get these bags. I don't want to be alone in this room no more. Needless to say, to stay in that room, to shower and get dressed was the longest minutes of my life, even though I did it pretty quickly. It wouldn't have been done.
I would not have showered. I would not have got dressed. I would have went out in my robe or whatever and left.
Bags in hands, right out the front door. I will get ready.
I would have thrown on shorts and a shirt, whatever, and left.
But it won't be in here. That's what I do now. I left the room and waited downstairs in the lobby for the others. I was in no mood for the spa anymore. I just wanted to get as far from the hotel as possible. I didn't tell anyone, but once back home, I found Mrs. Rivers and thanked her for the note, but the real reason I wanted to speak with her was out of curiosity. I asked her what time she left the room. She informed me she headed downstairs around 3:07 a.m., adding that she hoped she didn't wake me getting out of the door. Not that I needed confirmation, but that made it even more concerning. I had a theory that if she was involved with something dark, she left it behind because there were no incidents prior to her leaving. Or maybe she was keeping whatever was in that room at bay. Who knows? That's why you should have got that partition lock fixed. And me personally, I would ask. Did you? So look, I know they be saying that you be dabbling and all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not he say, she say. I'm not going to, make no assumptions. But when you left, did you feel anything in the room? Did you pick up on anything? Years later, she died from a terminal illness, and our coworkers attended her funeral. There was one thing that the pastor said to her family at the funeral that sent chills down my spine. He said, "I have known this family for a long time, and today is the day I'm going to tell you all, stop what you're doing, because if you don't, y'all are headed for the gates of hell. Jesus be offended." So let me tell you something. That is a crazy shit to say at somebody's funeral. I mean, goddamn. Can y'all imagine the pastor saying something like that at a funeral? You need to leave. I did not know what the hell this man was referring to, but I can tell you the way he said it confirmed that the family was into something weird. That was all I needed to confirm.
I don't want to know.
To this day,
I don't want to know.
That every time you are about to travel, pray and cover your space in advance. You never know who and what passes through hotel rooms. Thank you so much for reading my story. You are truly entertaining, and I know you will hit 1 million followers soon. Your style of storytelling is not something I've seen before. Keep up the great work. Lots of love from the Bahamas. Thanks. That means a lot to me. But yes, girl, pray over them rooms. I pray over any house I move in. I pray over the cars. I pray over the restaurants I be in. You hear me? Because, Father, you just never know. But what do y'all think it was in the hotel room? Do y'all think it was something that Mrs. Rivers left behind? I mean, if the pastor was at the funeral like, y'all are going to hell, they had to be doing something nuts. I don't know. He had to have caught them doing something crazy. What y'all think? This story happened when I was around 10 or 11 years old, and I am now 22. This took place in a small town in Tennessee, which I have since moved from. My aunt lived in a double-wide trailer that had been around for most of my life. She and my uncle were the only owners before the incident occurred. Over the years, 3 people had died in the home. All from natural causes. Now,
excuse me?
I feel like that's a little crazy. I feel like it's a little crazy. Like, my mom's house, my mom has had this house since I was in the 4th grade. I graduated college in 2019. I can't tell you the math, but it's been at least over 20 years. No one's died in that home. No one's died in my mom's home. No one's died in my grandma's home. No one's died. 3 people? That didn't necessarily mean anything, but it definitely added to the atmosphere. I think I don't know. I think it adds a lot. I think it adds a lot. The atmosphere is already tainted. Clearly. A few months before the incident, my aunt brought home an old painting of a little girl. She looked like she was from the late 1800s or early 1900s. My cousins and I were there when she brought it home. 2 of us were the exact same age, and the third was only 2 years younger. We all hated the painting and thought it was incredibly creepy. We refused to let her hang it up in the house, so she put it in the storage room where all of my cousins' toys were kept. Y'all got a nice aunt. If my mama brought home something to hang up in her house, and I'm like, oh, I don't like it, I'll hang it up, she's gonna say, do you pay bills here? No, you don't. I hate to say it, but she would. That meant that every time we wanted to play with a toy, we had to go into the room with the painting. We would run in, grab whatever we wanted, and run back out so we wouldn't have to look at it for long. Looking back, the painting wasn't objectively scary. It was just a little girl holding some flowers and a small book. But there was something about her eyes and the expression on her face that completely creeped us out. A couple of months later, some things happened, and my younger cousins were no longer living with my aunt. My oldest cousin, who was about 17 at the time, still lived there. One day, I went over to help her clean her room. I didn't mind. I was just excited to hang out with my older cousin. That right there is the truth. My oldest cousin, I call her my big sister. When I was younger, y'all, she could get me to do anything. I would be in there washing dishes, just happy as hell because we doing this together. She was like, "Go help me clean up the kitchen." Okay, yeah, I'm in there just rub-a-dub-dub. That is stupid. Just being used and abused. While we were cleaning, she asked me to go to the kitchen and grab some cleaning supplies. It was the middle of the day. Her bedroom was at the end of the hallway, and the bathroom was at the beginning of it.
Oh my
I
God,
grabbed
it's almost
supplies
dark.
and started walking back.
Oh my God.
As I rounded the corner from the kitchen into the hallway, I looked up. Standing at the beginning of the hallway was the little girl from the painting. Now, I fear we'll be also cleaning the hallway because I absolutely shit on myself.
I'm grabbing this desk and
I didn't have enough cleaning supplies.
boom.
She wasn't transparent or shadowy. She looked completely solid. The only strange thing, this is a ghost or a demon or an entity. I don't know what it is. But it's a little girl from the painting standing in the hallway. Besides the fact that she shouldn't have been there, was that her entire body was blue. I froze. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. The only thing I could do was turn around, walk back into the living room, and sit beside my uncle while he watched TV. Okay,
I'm running.
I just sat there staring at the television.
Running and
until my cousin
screaming.
came down the hallway, wondering what was taking so long with the cleaning supplies. Yeah, because I'm up here waiting for you to bring back the scrubbing bubbles. It's been 20 minutes. When I told her what I had seen, she laughed it off and said I was just being a little kid with an overactive imagination.
No.
But I know what I saw. Since my imagination is so overactive, I just came up with an idea. How about you clean this room by yourself, since you don't believe me? That experience has stayed with me ever since. After that, another person eventually died in the house from natural causes.
Oh my God.
Now, I'm not here to judge, but are we sure all these causes was natural? Did y'all have any antifreeze stocked up in the house? Not long after, the trailer burned down. Hallelujah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The fire wasn't suspicious. We know exactly what caused it. But whenever I think back to that house, I can't help but remember standing in that hallway and seeing the little girl from the painting staring back at me. To this day, I still can't explain what I saw. I don't think I want to explain it. I don't need an explanation, actually. If I had a Picasso hanging in my house and then I see the screaming man down the hallway looking at me, I'm simply going to move out. I don't know. That's just me. You know, some people will probably sell the painting. Me, personally, I'm moving out.
Burn the
Possibly
painting.
burning down the house. I don't know. All right, guys, I got one more story, and this one is really good. In my early 20s, I moved from Toronto to Nova Scotia for school. While I was there, I met a guy through mutual friends, and things moved pretty quickly. After a few months, we moved in together and ended up dating for almost 2 years.
I'm assuming this
we
is
lived
a
in the top
girl,
floor of a spacious
maybe a
triplex
guy.
in Dartmouth. Okay, first of all, I've never heard of a triplex. A duplex? A triplex? Didn't know that was a thing. A duplex, yes. Triplex? Also, Dartmouth. Dart. See, I got Nova Scotia down, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The setup was pretty simple. A family friend of my boyfriend lived in the basement apartment. The landlord lived on the middle floor, and we lived upstairs. Okay. When we first moved in, everything was exciting. We were young, living together, and honestly just happy to have our own place. But not long after we moved in, our neighbor downstairs mentioned something that stuck with me. He casually said there had been some suspicious activity around the house. What do you mean by that? Obviously, I asked what he meant. Like, what kind of suspicious activity? Someone breaking in, someone stealing things. But the second I started asking questions, I noticed his whole attitude change.
It's him.
It sounds like he realized he said too much. He got quiet, brushed it off, and didn't really want to talk about it anymore.
Oh my God.
Don't piss me off, because no one told you to come give me this information anyways. Don't act like you're trying to clam up now. You brought it up to me. That's like coming to tell me, well, so-and-so said this about you, but don't tell so-and-so I said it. I'm absolutely going to tell them you said it, because I need to know why they was talking to you about me in the first place. And honestly, that bothered me more than if he had just told me. For the next week or so, I kept thinking about it, because what does suspicious activity even mean? Exactly. My imagination was filling in all kinds of possibilities, but I never imagined what would actually happen. One evening, I got home from school around 9 p.m. after a long day. My boyfriend was at work, and my plan was to start getting dinner ready for the two of us before he got home. I figured I'd cook, maybe do some homework, take a shower, and relax for the night. The second I walked into the apartment, something felt off.
No,
I don't know how else to explain it.
The second I walk in, this is the second.
Immediately, my mind went back to the conversation with our neighbor. I started telling
Is
myself
the second I walk back out? I don't know.
But the feeling wouldn't go away. So I texted my boyfriend. He told me he was already on his way home from work, but had stopped at the grocery store to grab a few things we needed for dinner.
Yeah, no, I don't care about dinner.
Minutes. I figured, okay.
I don't care about dinner. You're coming home right now, but actually, while you're coming home, I'm gonna run out of this duplex, tripleplex, whatever the heck it's called. I'm calling the cops, FBI, SWAT team, the whole 9 yards, because there's probably someone in the house.
I'll just get dinner started while I wait. I walked into
probably a whole
bedroom,
freaking gang in the house waiting for you.
The bathroom was positioned where, from the doorway, you could see straight down the hallway towards the front door and part of the living room.
No, that's
I
creepy.
opened the bathroom window, sat on the edge of the bathtub, and called my mom. We hadn't talked in a couple of days, so we were just catching up while I had a little gardening session by the window. A few minutes into the conversation, I started feeling it again. That feeling. Only this time it was stronger. I can't explain it, but it felt like my body knew something was wrong before my brain did. It does. It absolutely does. It's called intuition. Trust it. So I put out my cigarette, closed the window, and turned around. And that's when I saw it. My front door opened. Not slowly. It just opened. My first thought was honestly, okay, he's messing with me. I laughed. Very funny. Nothing. No laughing, no gotcha, no response, just silence. See, my first thought is never somebody's just messing with me. Panic now, laugh later. Nothing's funny right now. I don't got no room for jokes. My mom asked, is he home? I said, I think so. I think he's trying to scare me. But even as I said it, something about it felt wrong. My mom started wrapping up the call because she thought I was about to spend the evening with him, and then everything changed.
Do not hang
I heard
up.
footsteps, running footsteps, starting from the front door, coming down the hallway straight towards me. I don't remember thinking, I just reacted. I slammed the bathroom door shut and started screaming. My mom immediately started yelling through the phone, asking what was happening. It pissed me off, because girl, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm screaming. I couldn't even explain. All she could hear was me screaming. Seconds later, my neighbor downstairs came running up the stairs with the baseball bat. He came to the apartment calling out, asking if everything was okay. And the second I saw him, I completely broke down. I was crying. My mom was still on the phone trying to understand what happened. And I know that's gotta be stressful, because being on the line and you hear somebody you love screaming and crying and you don't know what's going on, it's like, wait, what is it? What? And you just wait for somebody to ask you. That's gotta be very stressful. And when I finally explained everything to my neighbor, he just looked at me, not confused, not shocked, just like he understood. And that's when I realized that was the warning. That was what he was trying to tell us. You could have just said that. Hey, by the way, sometimes it be ghosts up in there.
And they'll run at you.
Just so you know, like, damn, a little heads up would have been nice. A few weeks went by after that. Nothing happened. Eventually, I started trying to convince myself that there had to be an explanation. Then one evening, my boyfriend came home from work. I was already in the kitchen making dinner. When he got home, he washed up, grabbed the plate I made for him, and came into the living room. We sat down, ate, and started talking about what we wanted to watch. Just a completely normal night, until the garbage lid flew across the kitchen. The weird thing was, this wasn't a loose lid sitting on top of a garbage can. It was one of those lids that had a rim and a little lip around it where it actually fits in place. No, the weird thing is that it flew across the kitchen, loose or not. Nobody's in there. We're sitting on the couch eating dinner. Why is it flying across the kitchen? Why have we not moved out yet? The bin was against the wall. Neither of us was near it. Neither of us touched it. It just came off and flew across the kitchen. We both stopped, looked at the lid, then looked at each other. Neither of us had an explanation. And for the first time, it wasn't just me. He saw something too. About a month went by after that. A month? My bags would have packed that evening. I wouldn't even stay that night. Nothing happened.
I wouldn't even pack bags.
We were sitting in the living room one night and had gotten into a small argument. Nothing serious, just a normal couple disagreement. And then we both noticed something out of the corner of our eyes.
Oh my God.
The blanket on the edge of the couch. At first, we couldn't even figure out what we were looking at because it was floating. I mean, actually hovering. We just stared. Neither of us said anything. We were trying to process what we were seeing. I don't need to process shit. The magic blanket is floating, and I'm gonna float my ass out the front door. That's what I do now. How many wee-woos do we need before we skedaddle? And then the second we looked away from it and looked back at each other, it dropped right back onto the couch, like nothing had happened. Neither of us understood what the hell we had just seen. That blanket had just levitated, and I have never seen my boyfriend move so fast in my life. This man jumped over the couch like he was doing hurdles, and we were gone. He was gonna leave you. He absolutely was gonna leave you. And I don't think I blame him. We packed up what we could, and we stayed with a friend for a few weeks until we found another place. I'm not packing nothing. I don't care if we would sit on the couch butt naked. We did not go back to that apartment unless we absolutely had to. And when we did go back, we brought reinforcements. Everyone we knew came with us because neither of us wanted to be there any longer than necessary. To this day, I still don't know what happened in that apartment. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe there isn't.
I don't want to know. I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out. I don't
ever
want
wanted
to
to spend
find out.
another night there again. I don't need no explanations. I really don't give a damn what was going on. I just know it won't be going on with me there no more. I'm glad you got out of this, sister girl. All right, guys. Well, those are our stories for tonight. Thank y'all for hanging out with me as always. Let me know what stories creeped you or freaked you out the most in the comments. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, make sure
All
you
of
like,
those
comment,
were actually
subscribe,
freaking
share, turn on post
terrifying.
notifications, tell a friend to come watch some story static stories. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and y'all stay safe out there.
Y'all, all of those were actually freaking
Tonight's stories go from normal
terrifying. Oh my God, those were terrifying, and I can't. I actually freaking can't. Oh my gosh. Okay, y'all. So, let me know what you thought about those down below. And yeah, I'm scared. I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder a lot over the next videos I have to film because I am actually scared. Yeah, and I want to go to a haunted house with my friends, maybe in October, which I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't know. I mean, I probably will not go because On one level, okay, this is not a podcast, but real quick, on one level, I'm kind of like, if I go do that, I feel like that could very much unlock that could unlock some spirits maybe, and I feel like I shouldn't do that. I don't celebrate Halloween. Like I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't think so, because I just feel like that could very much unlock some spirits. So, or some stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. It's not until October 25th, so there's a while to figure out if I want to go or not. But I don't know. Okay, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.